Recently, my friends and I were discussing with our spouses about Trapped in the Closet, R. Kelly's eccentric musical soap opera that begins with a man trapped in a closet while his lover's husband arrives home, leading to even more chaos. After investing excessive time trying to clarify that between composing a song for one of the greatest movie soundtracks ever and being incarcerated for sex trafficking, R. Kelly unveiled and outrageous hip-hopera. We ultimately chose to play it instead of explaining further. Despite recalling parts of the 12 episode series consisting of 33 chapters, I'd forgotten how incredibly outlandish it turned out to be. With a preacher engaged in infidelity with his wife's lover, Michael K. Williams, portraying a Chicago police officer, and an abundance of guns being brandished haphazardly, there was certainly a lot to process. That evening, as I lay down to sleep, I found myself pondering, what on earth did I just witness? I remember R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet being a big thing, but I completely forgot how absurd it is. During the early 2000s, particularly when it aired frequently on BET, VH1, and MTV, R. Kelly's musical series Trapped in the Closet gained significant popularity. Given that it preceded the sexual assault allegations against him and following his string of chart-topping hits, many viewers tuned in. Although I had a vague memory of its narrative, I was astonished by how utterly bizarre it turned out to be upon revisiting Barry Submission. As a movie enthusiast, let me tell you, the narrative itself is intriguing, but the production takes it to another level, particularly when Kelly's character, Sylvester, not to mix him up with the narrator who comes and goes, is behind the wheel, navigating from one residence to another in pursuit of unraveling the tangled plot. Despite its cheesy moments, there was a nostalgic appeal that transported me back to my high school years, amplifying the overall insane experience. Seriously, each subsequent chapter gets wilder and wilder. I moved. I wouldn't want to spoil Trapped in the Closet for those who haven't experienced it over the past 20 years. But let me tell you that if you think one episode is outlandish, you're in for a surprise with each subsequent one. And the storyline becomes increasingly bizarre and chaotic to the point where keeping track of all the characters and their relationships might require a chart. And the cliffhangers. Oh my, they're like the Marvel Cinematic Universe's end credit scenes, but instead of hinting at a new villain, they introduce a new character who seems connected to everyone else, despite the cheesiness and absurdity. I kept watching, even after the first 12-part run. Venturing into the Trapped in the Closet, I was well aware that it would offer a goofy and outlandish journey. Frankly, Weird Al Yankovic's parody, Trapped in the Drive-Thru, pales in comparison to the sheer absurdity of the production. And that's saying something for a comedic song. Yet, I found myself engrossed in Kelly's convoluted opera during its initial 12-episode series, and even continued through subsequent chapters of the tale. Eventually, I had to pause at around episode 16, but if given the chance, I would have continued until the end of the 33-chapter narrative. And I have to admit, Trapped in the Closest is still wildly entertaining in 2025. In 2025, I must confess that Trapped in the Closet remains an exhilarating watch, offering a roller coaster of entertainment as I follow a man's journey through an escalating series of implausible and outrageous situations and system. And in Ukraine maybe so define things. It's been quite some time since I've had such unadulterated fun. If you're seeking a lighthearted, campy, and downright extraordinary way to pass a few hours, tracking down R. Kelly's magnum opus isn't too much of a challenge. Uh, Frankly, I doubt this year's TV lineup will offer anything that can rival the sheer brilliance I see in Trapped in the Closet. Refreshing my memory of Trapped in the Closet with a bunch of pals, some of whom were first timers after such a long time, is an experience I'm likely to remember vividly for quite a while.